to be like one of the best MCU movies out there.
Yes, it started out to be even much more better than the Ang Lee Hulk from 2003. Even though it may have some elements here, the 2008 version kind of is much more awesomer than it could ever be. This should have where the Hulk should have started out in the first place as well.
I agree, yes, because with this version of the Hulk, it took a different turn and had a great backstory. And even though it was a little bit dark, but it was like, wow.
And right there, when I was keep on seeing the TV spots, which of course inspired me to just watch it to begin with. But when you go straight into the freaking, like really into the opening credits, where you see what happens, the classic story about him transforming into the Hulk, I was like, okay, yeah, this is too much for me, but it was worth it.
It was, yes. And introduction-wise, like, yes. I first watched it at home on my DVR. What do you call it? At the same time, because I first watched this in Fox. I watched this, the Incredible Hulk movie along with the first Iron Man movie and the Spider-Man trilogy from Sam Raimi.
Oh, that's cool.
And for you?
Yes, I first watched it in a movie theater. It was the first time that I ever saw a movie like way down in the front row. It was a different perspective, but it was something. Like, this was something that I rarely did up until when I saw Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther later on. I mean, during the time.
That's understandable. Like, do you also want to tell them like what happened afterwards after the movies?
Oh, okay, yes, yeah. What happened after when the movie was completely over? When we were going back home, my mom tried to just scare me by roaring like the Hulk. I was like, yeah.
Classic times.
And immediately afterwards, when I did get home and like I keep on seeing these TV spots or TV trailers that just keep saying like you're gonna like it when he's angry, but when it said now you're gonna like it when he's angry, because I was like, wow, look at that deja vu. It's like you read my mind. With me coming back from seeing the movie, you're just saying like now you can be able to see him.
Yeah, and the Hulk is an incredible character, especially from Marvel. It had a great backstory of like how this character got made. I like how Stanley, came up with the idea of Hulk. Basically, he took this idea from like the Jekyll and Hyde, situation, like turning into a monster back and forth, and then human. I thought it was pretty clever of him.
Oh, he also took inspiration from Frankenstein as well.
That makes sense, yes.
Yeah, but what interests me most about the Hulk is that he was originally gray, but since the printing progress had its ups and downs, Stan Lee decided to make him green.
I mean, yeah, I did read about that. I also saw some instances where you could actually see a gray Hulk here and there, like in Superhero Squad and Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yes.
But yeah, of course, it's not my first time seeing the Hulk in person, of course, with TV. I first got introduced to him through the cartoons, even like the animated movie. So I first got introduced to him through like Superhero Squad and then eventually Ultimate Adventures.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then of course, seeing the merchandise of Hulk, reading the comics, it was something else.
For me, it started out with a toy version, basically the 2003 version, where it was this super freaking squishy like figure with this like tattered shirt, and it had like multiple different phrases, a button that can spout these phrases. I was like, okay, this is the coolest thing that I've ever got. And I also had these freaking posters. One was Spider-Man 2 with Spider-Man crawling on the wall, and another was the Hulk destroying a building.
Nice. And speaking of merchandise, there was this one time, I don't know why, because it's been a long time, one of us out of my family, like my brothers and I, we used to have like these Hulk, arms, like the Hulk hands that smash like as toys. It was awesome.
Yes, I used to have the same thing too, except this time it was with the Thing from the Fantastic Four during the time.
Bro, like we would play around with those, and then we also had like Iron Man's like weapons here and there. We had like every accessory from like Marvel.
Oh, dude, that is freaking awesome.
Exactly, this playing, it's feeling like you're like the real Avengers.
But the one thing that made me like 2008's Hulk more was the freaking Burger King commercial.
Of course, who could forget?
It was just like these two kids playing with their with their figures, and then the dad's like, "My turn. I am the Hulk. I'm Abomination." And then he starts making fun of the Hulk, and then he jumps out of nowhere like, "What you say, bro?" And they just start screaming his head off. And even after, when the commercial is over, the Hulk is like, "Dude, I'm not even that scary."
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Hulk, at first as a kid you'd be afraid of because all the yelling and just him being mad. But over the time, he's just a really cool hero.
And speaking of which, that's because of what's his face's name that we're going to discuss later on. He meant actually, maybe I should just save that for the cast about like what you said about him being scary to make a point. But never mind.
Because I'm gonna be honest here. When I first saw the Incredible Hulk as a kid, I was like, "Oh my god!" Especially when he got into like transforming into the Hulk and him just smashing the glass and everything. I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
Yeah, what shocked me more was that like this was the first time that I ever heard Hulk talk, because I just didn't know he was capable of a speech, which is awesome because yeah, he first started out talking in like broken English, but then sooner or later he's talking full sentences. And no, not because of Professor or Smart Hulk, just him still being his angry self, but capable of perfect speech.
Exactly. But to get it yes, we did explain the beginning of how he became the Hulk, but over the time, a few months later, and this actually took years as well, that he had to transfer to Brazil to channel his anger, which was really clever because I liked how there was a number count of like how many days without accidents. It was 158.
Incident.
Oh, sorry, my fault.
I don't know, but it's cool, but. And that was the thing that I noticed at a second time, days without incident, because that's something really, really kind of, something to really work on. If there's something that you're having trouble with and you're trying to just be, okay, so this is that blah, blah day that I haven't gone crazy or lost anything, this is going well. But when it just comes back, it just,
Yep, and we learn more that what he does in Brazil. He just lives in a tiny apartment. He has a dog, and he just watches anything that's on TV, and he studies a little bit with his book and his experiments. And we also learned that he works at a factory.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, and of course he's like one of the best employees because the boss was like working for me for like 5 months, in payroll. Like he was like one of the best, and of course that had to all be stopped because of these three guys, especially like the main guy, like that had a beef with him.
Exactly.
It was like, and also because the main guy was like hitting on the girl, but of course Bruce was being a gentleman and saving her.
Yeah, that's typical classic dude who just challenge just because of a girl.
I mean, yeah, but along with this, Bruce, he actually split his blood into one of like the bottles and like everywhere else, but he didn't notice the bottle. It actually went inside the bottle, and unfortunately, later in the movie. Yes, cameo by Stanley. He actually, drinks it and made him all like the Hulk.
Oh, so that's what that was.
Yeah. And it's really cool because later in the Lego games and other media, Stanley would actually turn into the Hulk, which I liked.
Yes, it's almost like they took that joke from The Simpsons and turned it real because it was like he can't be the Hulk, I'm the Hulk, and comic book guy is like, oh please, you couldn't even change it to Bill Bixby, and then Stanley's like, I really did it once.
And then eventually, okay, we also get introduced to General Ross, and he basically hires his new cadets. Like, yes, we get introduced to the main villain, but we don't get into that yet. Emil Polanski. Yeah, he was born in Russia, but he was raised in England.
Which is ironic considering the fact of his actor, which we will discuss further notice. But yeah, here he just presented as this power hungry soldier injected. He's just trying to be his own version of Captain America in his own rights because giving him
exactly. That's what I thought when I was rewatching it this morning. It was because I kept hearing super soldier. I was like, come on.
That's right, but yeah, with him trying to take down Hulk, being like, "Oh, is that all you got? Is that all you can do?" Because I think I could take down you. I could take you down anytime, any place, and then boom, kicked him across the field and into a tree, almost killed him.
Yeah, but of course, before all that happened, they actually tracked him down in Brazil.
Oh wait, what did happen in the factory too?
Yes. So first it happened in his apartment. He found his apartment, and they were expecting him to see him there, but he actually stayed. And right at that minute, he used the rope to go down to that woman from earlier from the factory, and she was changing, and he was telling her to be quiet, and she agreed to that. And then he eventually escaped. But what I didn't like is that they were harming a lot of dogs in the movie.
I mean, I worried about that too because I was like, oh my god, did they kill his dog? I was like, oh wait, so they tranquilized him? Oh, okay, that's cool.
But it was the only friend he had in Brazil.
Oh, that's understandable.
And then of course the scene you just mentioned about them chasing him down and then, whoop, bye bye, you got crash. But of course, eventually he goes back to where he originally, came from and everything. And then eventually we get to Betty Ross. Yeah, that was a dark backstory. Yeah, he felt bad for what he did in the past to her, but it was not even as far as what was, the anger inside of him.
Yes.
But yeah, she was standing behind a tree, just, getting a glance of her, and of course we get introduced to I believe her new boyfriend Doc Sampson. Yeah, that was something. And eventually, Bruce went to a pizza place that was owned by his old friend Stan. And he understood the situation he was in, and it was nice of him to sleep in his restaurant because of course he had rooms upstairs.
Oh, I mean, I guess I should have just had a chance to just watch it just immediately, but thanks to you already seeing it again, this is really paying off.
No problem, man, because again, it was one of the best MCU movies. I know everybody has their doubts about it, but it was as a child, you experience more about what you see in life.
Yes.
But yeah, of course. And we call it, of course, Bruce is trying to get to the systems of what he could do to contact some people. Of course, before all this, he had a friend. He was texting the computer named Mr. Blue, and he referred Bruce to Mr. Green.
Yes, I like that. That's something that I did catch on.
But yeah, all towards this, he's trying to deliver. He worked as a pizza guy for a little bit. He even gave a pizza to the security guard to bribe him. And of course, he goes upstairs. You see a teen, and he gives him pizza. That's how you get to, just give him a pizza. You can hack into the system.
Well, that's a good gesture.
Then eventually we go back to the pizza place, and then we see Betty with her new boyfriend. And Stanley made a perception that even though he was closed, he'll still make food for him. But as soon as Bruce comes back and opens the door, Betty saw him, and he eventually went back into the the alleyway. and he saw him, and then tries to go in, and tries to call Bruce, but of course he's hiding behind a dumpster.
But then later on, they did manage to just reconcile, so they confront each other, and in the rain, which is a beautiful scene for anyone to.
I agree. It was something. With Bruce and Betty's relationship, of course, with other media, but this in particular was special.
Oh yes, even much more special than the Ang Lee version. I mean that one scene where they confront each other in San Francisco, that was kind of cool when he was like shrinking back to normal.
Mm-hmm. But of course, this, what's it called? It's having some memories back, just talking to each other, like what's been going on, everything. And it was so cool for her to offer, Bruce to sleep in her house because of the situation here.
Yes.
And of course, the next day, just trying to control it. And now, since Betty's with Bruce, now General Ross is trying to find him again with the information of their credit cards, phones and everything. So Bruce had the idea of don't use your phones or credit cards, just use money so they won't track us down.
Yeah, that's yeah, that does make sense too.
Yeah. But before all of this, of course, they were running from them because, of course, you did mention about that one time when you transferred to the Hulk again, and of course, Betty, got into the explosion. But of course, the Hulk saved her, and eventually they went to the waterfall, and then they went to a cave.
Yes, and that's a classic scene about him being ticked off about the rain, but then she calms him down, and they just continue to just watch.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, they went to a motel to stay low for a little bit. And the shower scene, every time he hears a loud sound, it just reminds him of the flashbacks of gunshots.
Well, yeah, similar to people who have PTSD.
Yeah. But of course, Betty comes back, brought some new clothes for Bruce, and of course, I saw this as a kid. I really do. Oh, pants, come on. Obviously, it's the Hulk.
Yeah, that was the one thing that kind of concerned me about this movie. I was like, I'm just so used with the Hulk wearing purple pants, but him wearing blue pants, I was like, yeah, okay, that's all right.
I mean, yeah. But of course, they're sorting out their plans because Bruce wants to meet the person he's been talking to, Mr. Blue, for a while, and learn that he's actually in New York City. And of course, they have to drive. But they got stopped because police were doing an investigation to trying to find them. So they ditched the car, and eventually they were walking, and they paid some guy to drive them in a boat to New York City.
Oh, so that's what happened. So that's how they did it.
And yeah, eventually they went to a taxi, but the taxi driver, oh my god, he was going so fast that Bruce's heart rate was going up.
Dang, that's messed up.
But that's another clever thing on Bruce. He had to watch it, track his heart rate.
Oh, right. Because that one scene when he first transformed into the Hulk, when he was confronted by those punks, and.
Mm-hmm. But afterwards, I just love how Betty got so mad and called the guy an asshole afterwards. And I like how Bruce was I have many techniques of controlling your anger. She was zip it. Oh Jesus! Talk about hypocrites here. Well, I'm not complaining. Then eventually they went to the university where they found Samuel Stearns, aka Mr. Blue, and he was really shocked to find out that Bruce was actually a real life person.
Well, okay, say that again, because that kind of sounds a little bit odd.
So when Samuel first met Bruce and Betty, he was especially shocked that Bruce was an actual human. Even though he's been giving Samuel some of his blood over the years. I don't know why he's surprised at that point.
I mean, what? I mean, is it aware, he doesn't know that he's the Hulk or something? Because, if he's called Mr. Green, then, come on, it's obvious.
It's obvious, exactly. And, of course, while all this is happening, Emil gets, stung by, super soldier serum. And, of course, it's affecting him, especially, the back of his, it's growing spikes.
Well, I mean, like, I just gotta say, his transformation, it's disgusting and disturbing when he turns into Abomination, and then, like, you see that the back of his legs, like, the bones sticking out, and then his spines in his back, and, oh.
Yeah, the Abomination's design, it was pretty badass, but it was like, wow, like, it could be disgusting, but it was like, Jesus, they went all out for, like, their designs here. But I'm not complaining, though. But of course, Samuel does agree to like take out some of the serum of like from Bruce, and then of course he's like strapped on and he's trying to like obtain it like while Betty's talking to him.
Oh, yeah, that part, yes, I do.
Yeah, and eventually, yes, and then that's the thing though with Emil, like he got hurt, but of course the serum helped him got healed faster.
Well, wait, that was part of the serum when he first took it, like, along with his strength, speed, agility, and such.
Mm-hmm. And then eventually, yes, they tracked him down. General Ross, along with the soldiers, tracked him down, and then of course, Bruce gets hit by a tranquilizer, and of course he's drowsing a little bit, and then we see the soldiers along with Emil. He pushes Betty. I'm like, what the hell? Why would you do that to a woman of all people? But again, this is me we're talking about. And then eventually he goes to Bruce and says, where is it? Where is it? Until he goes doozy and all that. And while all this is happening, Betty Ross is confronting General Ross about like not hurting him and all that. And, and it's kind of like wild that she hasn't talked to him in a few years, which makes sense because what happened to Bruce.
Yes.
But eventually, Emil convinces like Samuel. Well, I would say, just threatening him to like put all the Hulk's blood into him.
And then comes the scene where we just talked about, and that was the part where it was like, what is happening to his face? Where it turns out that he's actually supposed to represent the leader in the comics.
Yeah, because a drop of Hulk's blood went to his brain. I'm like, and this was a missed opportunity because afterwards, nothing. I mean, the Hulk just immediately went to the Avengers. Like, we didn't get any details afterwards. It was like a cliffhanger. But thankfully, and I'm not saying this for all of us, but he's making a return in the new Captain America movie next year.
Right.
Along with Betty Ross and, General Ross as well.
Nice.
But one of my favorite scenes, and this has to be the top one, was the fight between Hulk and Abomination.
Yes, right there. When we first get into it, I just gotta say, like when I first saw this, like the funniest part, of course, was like when Bruce was skydiving out of the helicopter, and it was like, oh, and then everybody was just laughing when he, everybody was just laughing when he said like, oh, and then he just crashed into the ground and turned into the Hulk.
Oh shit! Huh. Plastic.
But then comes the fights with the coolest scene, in my opinion, with Hulk using a police car as boxing gloves.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But I just love how like they're fighting along with people that's running away from them, like in the sides of the sidewalks. Like, just run already. Why are you waiting, like watching them like fight?
I mean, I don't remember seeing some of them just sticking around. I think they are just really just running for their lives.
There was even this one guy that was watching the fight until like a car like crashed behind him. He was like, "Oh no, I'm a Ruby."
That was before like the Hulk, but that was before Banner transformed into the Hulk. Like that was just Abomination himself wreaking havoc through Harlem.
Well, yes, thank you for that, but I'm just saying. Of course, if you see a big fight, you just have to run away from it. But yeah, just the fight between them, it was extreme. Especially them going to building, and then like them jumping to building. I was like, okay, this is intense.
And the other part that concerned me too was when Abomination stuck one of his elbow spines into the Hulk. I was like, oh my god, is he gonna die? But I just didn't know that.
I was the same. I was like, yo, you're like into him though. Like you can see the blood dripping from his body. But of course, the Hulk, with his clutch, because the Abomination was using just one weapon to like crash the plane, of course. But the Hulk used the chain to like choke him. But Betty was like, giving him the face, and of course Hulk couldn't do it. So the Abomination just fell unconscious.
And yeah, well, thank God, because I actually did believe that he killed him the first time.
But of course, Betty's the only person that can,
Tame
talk to Hulk in a nice way. That's what I like about Betty. And of course, and we see Helicopter, and then eventually he just, jumps and then, and then we cut to a scene where, yes, she's in New York City still, and she gets a beeping sound from her camera saying it's low battery, and she sees the picture of Bruce.
And then, of course, with the Days Without Incident, with him trying to keep his cool, but then when it just opens his eyes and gives a smile, like, oh yeah, I'm back, big sis.
I'm back, baby. And yeah, noticing that, yes, at the ending of the movie, that he's now in British Columbia.
Oh, what?
Yeah. But yeah. Of course, let's not forget that scene in the bar with General Ross, and of course we get a cameo from Mr. Tony Stark.
Yeah, that was like that really did shock me. About like, what, he was here?
Bro, it would have been cool if was more of the movie, but of course this focusing on the Hulk, understandable.
Yes.
But at the end, no, go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with you.
But of course, at the end, Tony did reveal to General Ross that he's making a tea.
Well, yeah, that's. I mean, he could have just said something, but maybe just lazy writing, or who knows.
And that's about it.
Good.
All right, now to the cast.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so of course, with the main man himself, Edward Norton as Hulk, aka Bruce Banner, but I gotta say, his version of the Hulk, and more of his Bruce Banner was like so touching, and it was like he did excellent.
Yes, like seeing the behind the scenes about like where like they just put makeup on him to capture the Hulk's anger and like other different emotions. But I just gotta say, Edward Norton's portrayal as the Hulk has got to be like his most fiercest. Like, he's freaking scary looking when he like gets angry when I first saw him, but it was so worth it. Like, they could have just kept him around. No offense to Mark Ruffalo, but I'm just saying, this is how Hulk should be.
I agree with you, Fresh. Like, yes, again, no offense to Mark Ruffalo, but with Edward Norton, at least he stayed as a badass, like body machine monster. Like, but with Mark Ruffalo, no offense again. I'm just saying, yes, of course, with the first adventure movie, he was, fierce and everything, but throughout, like, the movies of the MCU, he just turned into, like, a normal scientist that was stuck into the Hulk, basically.
Yes. I mean, like, because he did say that if he turned into the Hulk, he would never be able to just turn back into Bruce again.
Well, yes, that's understandable, but, again, it just kind of ruined Hulk for, like, the MCU. Like, they kind of stuck with the OG, like, source material, but, of course, they had to F it up. But Edward Norton, he has to be an interesting actor, and also to find out that he's one of the few actors that curses a lot.
Oh, yes, guaranteed.
But yeah, this was my full-on introduction to Edward Norton.
Same here.
And then the other media I got introduced him was in Sausage Party, where he played Sammy Bagel Jr.
Yes, that was just really awesome that he put on a what was it, Woody Allen impression for him.
Mm-hmm. And of course, from your side, Fresh, from any movies.
Oh, right, yes. Well, it did say that his first ever... Oh, yes, this movie called Primal Fear, where he plays this dude who has multiple personality disorder.
And when you first watched it, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I was like, wait a second, where have I seen this clip before? Because when he said, how the F should I know? I was like, oh, so this was the part where he turns into another different guy, accused of a crime. Because that's what this was like all about.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see other stuff. He's been in like American History X, Fight Club. I was interested in seeing that. Man.
Me too, actually, because it's really cool to see Brad Pitt and Edward Norton work together.
Like other devotables. Oh yeah, Isle of Dogs, Alito Battle Angel. Huh. Of course, Asteroid City coming up here.
Yes, and I can't wait for that. It's just the cast is spontaneous.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and this one that really confuses me in the Simpsons movie where he plays this panicky guy that eventually got squashed by the dome, but his lines was redubbed by Dan Castellaneta.
Yeah, and from what I heard, that it was the voice that was too distracting.
I mean, it's just one or the other. I mean, come on.
Come on, it would have been cool to have part of like one of the best anime movies, but of course that got drifted down. But of course, afterwards with the Hulk movie, of course there was some like letdowns here and there with Edward Norton and the MCU. Of course, before the Incredible Hulk happened, originally the director he wanted Mark Ruffalo to play him, but of course Mark was unavailable because he was the first choice to play Hulk in his opinion. But of course, I don't know why would they do this to him, but Edward Norton was second place. Like, why second place? Like, he should have been first.
I agree.
Yeah, and afterwards, just having breaking out, they had to recast Bruce, aka Hulk, but it was like everyone wanted to a better script in his opinion, and he also wanted more diversity. I believe yes, he did.
Oh, well, that's understandable too.
But it's cool that him and Mark Ruffalo are really good friends after the mishap with the Hulk situation.
Oh, well, at least that's good.
Yeah, but for Edward just being an incredible guy and an actor, I give him Infinity for his awesome performance.
I agree. Couldn't agree more.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next we get into Liv Tyler, who played Betty Ross. Her portrayal was also excellent.
Yeah, with the behind the scenes, it says that she really did match Betty, like full on. I was like, I agree, because I just with her, like, I just can't stop because she's just so beautiful.
Exactly, and again with Betty and versus relationship, he really has a special bond, but of course it has to get romance. But I don't know that Betty Ross is from live action. She has to be my favorite.
I mean, yeah, like she is first, and Jennifer Connelly just second. Yeah.
Okay, I agree with that. And her from other media artists.
Well, okay. Well, it says here that she's in stuff like this movie this movie that I one time saw called That Thing You Do, starring Tom Hanks. Let's see, Armageddon.
You also saw the movie Super, right?
Yeah.
She was in the movie. She played Sarah.
And there was also, that's pretty much.
She was also part of the Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would just say, my same score with Edward and Bruce, just Infinity. It was just a beautiful performance.
I agree.
Right now we get into the villain. Yes, Emil, played by Tim Roth. And goddamn, for everybody in this movie, they played the role to the extreme. Like with Tim Roth's performance as Emil, aka Abomination, it was hands down amazing.
Yes, and out of all the Abomination designs, I was just so used to this one, but aware that he was like supposed to look like some kind of giant fish-like creature. I mean, with those fins, and it just looked weird to me.
I never saw that Abomination design. Of course, with Superhero's blood.
And just what I found interesting about Abomination when I first got to know much more about him, may be just bigger and stronger than a Hulk, but three differences. He retains his intelligence, unlike Hulk. He can't turn back to a normal man, and his strength doesn't increase when he gets angry. So, I mean, come on, bigger and stronger, bullcrap.
really surprising that he reprised his role. Yeah, later on, of course, with Shang-Chi and She-Hulk, which was okay. They effed them up again.
I mean, like what? Like not getting full potential, like full time to shine, just a cameo.
Well, no, he did have full on track, but I was like, with his new design in the MCU, because, yeah, what you mentioned about his features and, like, just, like, ears and everything, he did get that, but I was like, I don't like this design.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Like, and, like, you know, when he talks, when he's in the long mission, this is his normal voice. They don't even deepen it anymore for him.
Yeah, it's just lazy. I mean, I guess they're just following in Hulk's footsteps now, that he's now just some normal dude.
But there was this fourfold joke, of course, because of She-Hulk, that he, along as he didn't recognize this loose matter.
Oh.
But Rock as an actor, he did, again, excellent, and I know that he was in other media, like,
Pulp Fiction.
Yes. And what do you know from him?
All right. So the 2001 Planet of the Apes starring Mark Ruffalo. I mean, Mark Wahlberg, wow.
That is right, yeah. And this chicken, he was also in Robot Chicken one time.
Let's see. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Let's see.
Tales of the Crypt, surprisingly. That's really all that I know.
Same here. But again, with his performance, you know, it's good that they brought him back after all these years, but it just didn't feel like the right moments because I get it, yes. You want to bring him back for like a TV show that people like because of the football jokes, but it's not really good in my opinion.
Yes.
But for him, this Infinity.
Yes.
Alright, next up we get to, yes, General Ross, who was played by the late William Hurt.
Yes.
Yeah. I gotta say, him as a general, and like, he did play the character really good. And it was like, his and like Vinny's like relationship at the time, it was so like complicated because of like the situation with Hulk, but at least they made up a little bit at the end.
And yes, even I mean, like, still, he had concerns when Betty was in there with that giant explosion when Hulk shielded her from it, and he assumed that she was dead. But like, it's still love, maybe complicated, but love still matters.
But he also made an appearance in what was it, Civil War?
Yeah, about the destruction, about what happened, and ooh, that was complicated when that building caused by Scarlet Witch. It's
yeah, and it's funny because Hulk was not even that movie, and he appeared in that movie, but it's cool in a way. But yeah, when I heard the sad news about last year that he sadly passed away, I was like, you know, he played one of the best MCU roles that he ever had.
Yeah, I like really. It's just so sudden, and it's just. I was just speechless at that time because I was like, what? Like Ross? Like.
Yeah. And to myself, I was like, are they gonna recast him or like have a memorial for him? But of course, he got recasted. But before I talk about that, you know him from other media?
No. I just only knew him as just Ross.
Understandable. And just looking through here. He also did some audiobooks at his time. Like in 1989, he did what do you call it? He did an audiobook for the Polar Express book.
Yes, like I'm looking through like the filmography too.
Oh, the King of Queens is really cool. Mythic Quest, that's pretty cool. And yeah, the last time he played General Ross was sadly in the Black Widow movie.
Oh.
But yeah, after his death, of course, they had to recast him, and of course, the role went to Harrison Ford, of course, known from Indiana Jones and Han Solo. But in your opinion, even though we haven't seen any clips or anything like that, what do you think Harrison Ford would be a good general?
I believe so.
Me too, because eventually learning that he turns into the Red Hulk, you know, it would have been cool to see, you know, one of the first like version of Red Hulk, but let's just see what Harrison Ford has.
Yes.
Yeah, but you know, this first great work on William Hurt, you know, I just gave him his name as well.
Hey, me too.
Alright, now we get into, Simmons started to was played by Tim Blake Nelson. Basically, he was trying to help the Hulk, but was getting signed at the same time. But Jesus, it would have been cool if like it was a full-on transformation for him to turn to Peter, but of course, that's not happening until the next year with the new Captain America movie.
It just that's one of the things people can do. They can either just give you full on or give you hints, or just be lazy about it.
But this return was really good in my opinion. And he was also in Scooby-Doo 2 Monster Unleashed.
Oh yes.
Yes, let's see, I believe. Oh yeah, he was in the Big Year, which I was really surprised about. Oh yes, he was in the 2015 Fantastic Four movie. Yes, yeah, that's my crime. Modern Family.
Pinocchio.
Big City Rings. But yeah, I've seen some pictures and like, yeah, his character Samuel, apparently his arms are turning green. That means the full transformation of the leader is like coming up. So, even though I'm gonna see it, I'm just gonna see like how this goes. But for his performance, I give it a 10 out of 10. You know, he should have had like more screen time, but it's just like the character. He was just too excited to like just experiment on the whole. That's why.
8.
I see. Alright, another one. What shocked me when I learned about this years ago, Ty Burrell as Doc Simpson, or at least, you know, knowing him as Leonard Simpson.
Well, yeah, same difference, but yeah, this was a shocker for me too when I watched this for the second time. I just first got introduced to him in Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
Understandable. The first time I got introduced to him was, Superhero Squad. We played, Captain Marvel. Yes. Which was, you know, Miss Marvel's boyfriend, which was surprising because that's the only time it happened in other media. But yeah, it's cool that he had like 2 MC roles, for like one for animation, one for live action.
I mean, I agree. Yeah, it's fair.
And yeah, of course, this is how I got introduced to him live action. But other works, yes, he did mention Mr. Peabody and Sherman. And the funny story about that is that he was not originally cast as Mr. Peabody. It was supposed to be Robert Downey Jr.
Wait a minute. Didn't you include him in your Owning the Mantle?
I did, because here's the thing, though. He was supposed to, but never explained why he dropped out the project.
I guess he doesn't want to pull a freaking Shaggy Dog incident. Yeah, get it?
I get it, yes. And of course, he was also in Finding Dory, but one of his biggest projects was Modern Family.
Yes.
Where he plays Phil, the dad. But yeah, I found Ty Burrell an interesting actor.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I give his character a 9 out of 10.
Same as you.
Of course, yes. Let's see here. Of course, we have Robbie Downey Jr. as that cameo as Iron Man. But you want to mention the little cameo from a certain security guard fresh?
Lou Ferrigno.
Yes, who originally played Hulk from, like, what was the 80s or 70s show?
Yeah, I'm guessing that it was 70s. Yeah, of course, along with Bill Bixby, because that was... Yeah, I'm pretty sure that... Yeah, it's 1978.
But it was so cool to see a cameo by him, especially him playing the security guard that got bribed by Bruce Banner himself.
It is freaking. That's exactly.
But what was also cool is that he provided the Hulk roars for Hulk.
Yes.
And along with that, there was also Fred Turner that also provided the voice.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, that is, of course, being uncredited, which is really rude, but that's what people do.
But yeah, the whole roars and like speaking voice were like credited like with 5 people doing the roars, which was pretty awesome.
Okay, even though that was a little bit unnecessary, but yeah, I guess it's impressive.
Yeah. But this is little cameo. I just give it a 10 out of 10. It was just like you're bringing an OG actor into like the MCU movie. It's really smart of them.
Yes.
Of course, lastly but not least, the great Stan Lee who made that little cameo.
Yes, I just still couldn't believe like all this time that green stuff and it was the Hulk's blood. That's just a little bit kind of like messed up.
It is messed up, but let's give it to the god of all cameos of the MCU movies. Like, I just thank Stan Lee every day just to making like this great, project of Marvel.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, out of all the cameos, which one has to be your favorite from him?
Without a doubt, it would have to be 2002 Spider-Man during the festival attack scene where he saves a girl from being crushed by debris.
That's a good one. Yeah. One of my funniest ones and my favorite has to be Amazing Spider-Man, where he was a librarian and he's listening to music the whole time they're fighting in the background.
Yeah, I'm sure that's everybody's favorite as well.
But I also like the one from Homecoming where he was yelling at Peter.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
And that one where he plays a delivery driver, he was like, "Is there a Tony Stank here?"
Yes. Oh wait, what about when he got drunk in Avengers: Age of Ultron?
Bro, that was funny. And of course, remember his little cameo from Ragnarok?
Ragnar. Oh yes, he was like Thor was like, "Please, kind sir, please don't cut my hair."
Yeah. But of course, his last cameo for like live action MCU was, of course, Endgame. Yes, where he was driving with his girl, and of course he was a young Stan Lee. But what makes it sad is that when Steve Rogers was old towards the end of the game. That was supposed to be Stan Lee playing Steve Rogers as an old person.
Oh, if they did that, that would have. Oh my God, that would have hit much more different.
But of course, his sad death in 2018 affected a lot of people. Yeah, 2018 was not one of my best years, especially losing a whole bunch of people that I know. Especially losing 2 creators, Stan Lee and Steven Hillenburg.
Yeah, I mean, it was a mixed year for me. There were some ups and downs. Those were the down parts, but the up parts, of course, was Spider-Verse, where everyone wanted to... Oh, well, not only Stan, but Steve Ditko as well, because, he, too, was also dedicated in Spider-Verse. And...
Mm-hmm. Of course. But, of course, he also made some animated, cameos here and there. Of course, in Big Hero 6.
Yeah, Fred's dad.
And what was shocking is that he was in the Teen Titans movie.
Oh yeah, they did.
It was why are you here, Stan? No offense, but this is DC, not Marvel. Was he also on Wreck-It Ralph? But as a cameo, yeah.
That was just in the sequel.
Mm-hmm. But there was a little Easter egg in Spider-Man. Even though he didn't make his cameo, that scene with Peter and Dr. Octavius were fighting, right? You can see the cars. In one of the license plates, it was Stan Lee's birthday.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. Stan Lee, and just hearing the story of Spider-Man, how his editor didn't like the idea of a boy being a hero where they're supposed to be a psychic, but Stan Lee had a lot of confidence, and I'm so glad that he brought all these characters alive.
Well, yeah, while that may be true, what actually is the reason why they almost rejected Spider-Man is because he would struggle to appeal to readers because some people are scared of spiders. I mean, yeah, it was cool for them to make a teenage hero not have an older superhero mentor, but I'm there was no issue with that. It was just the spider part.
Well, it's so funny is to find out that Tom Holland's actually scared of spiders.
Well, could you blame him?
And so ironic? He has a spider tattoo on his foot.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just for the fans because I mean, come on. Like, how many people would say that Spider-Man is their favorite superhero? Because he's just that good. It's just.
I get that. Like, I'm just saying it's ironic that you're scared of spiders, but you got a tattoo of spiders because of the fans. I'm like, Tom, you're something else. I swear.
And just why there? Who would want to just see that? I mean, no offense, Tom, but because I did hear that he tried to just do it over and over again, and I was like, "Whoa, is really that painful to somewhere that sensitive?"
But going back to Stan Lee, the first time I got to see him in animation, like through Alex Campus, but for me it was Super Squad where he played the mayor.
Oh, for me, I think it was like his many cameos on The Simpsons.
Enough said, true believer. Excelsior.
But what really did make me admire him even more was when I was going to when I was going through the DVD of 2002 Spider-Man, and I came across the trailer for Stan Lee's Mutants, Monsters, and Marvels about how he came up with his creations and everything. And I eventually did see it, and I was like, yep, this was definitely worth the wait.
Exactly. Stan definitely had a lot of great projects through TV shows, animated shows, animated movies, live action shows. He was just a goddamn genius.
And he probably just inspired me for my first possible animated series. I really do guarantee that.
Oh, that's pretty cool. It's a similar story with me, but it's a cool story with Stan Lee. But for me, what inspired me to make my own show someday with these kind of characters was Butch Hartman, Seth MacFarlane, and Craig McCracken.
Oh, my other different inspirations, of course, yes, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, Seth MacFarlane, who else? Alex Hirsch, yes. Well, those are the core ones that I can think of.
And so funny when I just mentioned those three particular ones that they worked on Cartoon Network shows.
That's genius.
But enough said about that. For Stanley, you can't say nothing. It's just infinity because of the god of Marvel.
Solid infinity.
Exactly. And, now that he sadly passed away, the Marvel movies after Endgame, they're really not doing that much good anymore.
Maybe just couldn't really let go of its most famous godfather.
Exactly. But the only movies that are doing really good was No Way Home, of course, and Wakanda Forever.
Yes.
And that's about it. And then to our final thoughts. Yes, this movie taught me a lot, especially learning more about Marvel. It had some dark meanings to it, but it was also good at the same time. It was a proud moment just watching an incredible movie. Incredible. But this is overall, I give it infinity. I don't care what anybody says. You can say Marvel was your favorite, but Edward Norton was my favorite Hulk. I'm live action.
What he said.